Hey everybody, it's Bobo the Vulture, and I think we're down to our last dad. Down to our last dream. I am probably already a dad at this point. So I'm in company with all of these fine fellows. And this is Bobo the Vulture, and this is Let's Play Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. This may be the final chapter, unless after you complete all of the daddy dating scenarios, there opens up a bad boys love scenario, like in, you know. Sorry, I, I completely went blank there, and I couldn't remember the phrase "hopeful boyfriend," which is, of course, the phrase I would have been looking for there. So, yeah. Now, I don't hold out hope for a super great ending with Robert because, as we've seen, it seems like there are you romanced him right and maybe you didn't romance him right situations. Though again, we don't know. I get the feeling if our second date with Craig had gone better and we had unlocked the mystery of the missing stuffed toy, that we might have been able to convince Craig that he needed to bro up with us in a somewhat less bro and more husband and husband sort of situation. Not husband and husband, obviously. It's just going to be true romance. There's not necessarily a matrimony aspect to any of these. And Joseph, I don't know. I still am not necessarily convinced that getting Joseph to not work things out with Mary is necessarily the correct course of action, but it certainly seems like what the game would have you motivated to do. But either way, other than that, I mean, with Matt, with Brian, Damien, and Hugo, we've managed to make beautiful, beautiful memories, and I don't hold out as much hope for Robert. I feel like it might go the way of Craig and Joseph, just because if you remember the first date that we had with Robert, fairly early on, he said, "So, you like to get wild?" And I basically was like, "No, man, I'm a dad. I got responsibilities." Also, in the very, very beginning, before you even go on a date with him, he walks back with you to the cul-de-sac and he's like, "Hey, so we gonna do this or what?" And I was like, "What? No, I'm not gonna like one night just day I meet new dad, new neighborhood. I'm not necessarily just gonna hook up with new dad, especially when you find out this person's neighbor." I'm not necessarily saying that people can't do that. I'm just saying that that was not. It's not also something to have any expectation of. So back off, Robert. Hey, you know what they say about third dates? They get pretty serious. Are you sure this is your dream daddy? As sure as I am that I have prior states or prior saves that I can go back on. You don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Well, geez, that's been the philosophy of my professional career, hasn't it? Bird in the hand is better than the bird in the eye. Well, what about the bird's eye view that's people seem to be so after? Haven't spoken to Robert since that night we drove out to his thinking spot. He seemed unusually somber then, like more so than the usual amount of somber that Robert is, which is already a lot. I've been thinking about him, and I hope he's doing okay, but I've been a little reluctant to reach out to him. Bobo. Hey, Bobo. Guess who's getting their drink on tonight? Take a look at my dad book messages. There's a flurry of them from Robert. Guess. It's you. Also me, but mostly you. So Robert's trying to get us drunk up, so I mean, right now, why? Those are good questions, but also slightly too pumping on the brakes. Yeah, dude, slightly too much on the gas. This is one of those areas where subtleties of communication are difficult in a game like this. I mean, I would probably say, all right, let's do it. Something like that. Which I guess the closest to that is, yeah, dude. But, all right. I type backdrop because, I mean, we were just talking about how we wanted to talk to him, but we were a little bit reluctant to, and here, he's done it to me. Robert, buddy, tonight we ride. Yes! Meet me at Jim and Kim's at 8 p.m. Not that I'm unappreciative, but I think this is the first time that Robert's given me more than an hour's warning before hanging out. Amanda pops her head in the hallway. Music I don't recognize blaring from her room. What's that? It must be music from Pup. I'm hanging out with Robert later tonight. Okay, cool. Robert, who is my friend. They're friends. I'm happy for you, Dad. People enjoy my company, Amanda. Dad, I'm so happy for your continued development as a human being. What are you listening to? Sad shit. Amanda, language. What would Grandma think? I don't give a fuck anymore. I mean, she's getting ready to go to college, right? This is her senior year in high school. She's going to college. I'm not gonna, like, this is... She is 17 going on 18, or already 18, basically. Like, this is not the point in time to be like, my children say the word shit? No. That's right, folks. I also use that language sometimes. Somewhat sparingly. I remember people being really amused at potentially the first time I ever used foul language on my channel was when I was playing Mario Kart with Smash, and I got hit with a red shell. And I said, what the F was that? Mario Kart is the most serious of business, so I don't feel bad about it one bit. Yeah, I'm more concerned that she's listening to sad music. Like, oh, is everything all right? You're just sitting there listening to, Radiohead on loop or whatever. Amanda, Lang, you know what? You're an adult now. I give it an earnest effort for all 18 years of your life. Go forth and swear. Fuck yeah! I really hope I don't regret this later. Achievement unlocked. Let Amanda say censored. Amanda goes back into her room, turns up the volume to her sad shit. Put on my going out coat and walk over to Jim and Kim's. I spot Robert leaning against the brick wall, smoking a cigarette. As I get closer, I realize that he looks a little different. Cleaner, I guess. It looks the same to me. Maybe it's my graphics settings. It actually seems like he combed his hair and his clothes are less wrinkled than usual. Hey. Hey. Take a shower just for me? I'm working on my relationship with existence. We both stand there for a second and don't say anything. Robert finishes his cigarette and abruptly goes inside. I follow him. By the time I get inside, Robert's already at the bar ordering 2 whiskeys. I spot a booth in the back and claim it for us. Robert slides in and hands me a glass. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate being given whiskey. To you, to us, to toast. Or to toast. I mean, to us. It's the kind of thing you say. I mean, really, you just say cheers. But whatever. Here's to us, and all the property damage and petty larceny that we may commit tonight. We can clink whiskeys, and I watch him sip his, rather than his traditional approach of slamming the whiskey back as quickly as possible. So what's the plan for tonight? Hit some other bars, maybe grab some pizza. I think that'll kill some time before we go burn down that old abandoned house in the woods. It's definitely not as fun if it's abandoned. Mary pops over the back of the booth, a glass of wine in her hand. She punches Robert in the shoulder. Where was my phone call? Sorry, figured you were busy sinking your teeth into some poor sap. I am. He's right here. I look around the booth to see a guy sitting across from her. He waves meekly. You replacing me with the new kid? Mary, I could never replace you, whether I wanted to or not. Mary leaves her booth and slides in next to Robert. The guy she was sitting with looks mildly relieved. She eyes Robert's clean-pressed clothes up and down suspiciously. What, do you got a court date coming up? He does. He looks handsome. I think he'd never convince the jury. He would have had to shave first. Seriously, though, what's up with you? Robert stares down at his drink, suddenly looking serious. It's Pappy. Doctor says it's cirrhosis of the liver. I told that old bag of bones to quit with the sauce, but it's all he's ever known, especially since Ma's gone. That's why I invited you out tonight. Just didn't want to be alone. Oh, come on. Bobo, don't be an asshole. You know the one thing Robert doesn't joke about is his pappy. I like that he calls him Pappy. Reminds me of Popeye the Sailor. Whoops. They're giving him 2 months. I gotta help straighten out his affairs. Robert, I'm so sorry. Robert takes a long look at his whiskey, eyeing it in the dim glow of the bar's lights. I look at his life, and I look at mine, and I know history is just doomed to repeat itself. Oh my god. I'm just kidding. He's retired with his new girlfriend in Acapulco. They watch the sunset every night. Probably screw like donkeys. Wait, aren't rabbits the ones who screw a lot? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were an expert on which animals screw a lot. Please stop saying the word screw. Robert finishes his drink and slides it away from him. He gets up out of the booth. Me and Bobo are gonna hit the bricks. You coming with? Mary casts one last glance at the sad sap she's been hunting and downs the rest of her wine in one gulp. This place is dead anyways. We exit the bar and find the typically empty street filled with a small crowd of people. At the front is a guy with a really deliberate attitude and bad posture. He carries a lantern that shines up at his face for dramatic effect. Just by their positioning, it really looks like Mary and Robert are holding hands here. It's kind of cute. Oh, look at these two. So at the front is a guy with a deliberate attitude and bad posture. He carries a lantern that he shines up at his face for dramatic effect. What's going on? Looks like it's one of those walking ghost tours. They do that in this part of town all the time. It's like Bray Wyatt. I've always wanted to do one of those. You know all those stories are fake, right? Pretty much all my stories are fake. This is research. Robert makes a beeline towards the back of the group. He turns around when he notices that I'm not following him. Come on. Can't just crash it, can we? Don't be such a square, Bobo. Just act like you belong. Robert sidles up to the tour group. I reluctantly follow in to step behind him. Well, here goes nothing. Oh man, it's Tour Master Quinn. Hey, it was in this place in 1694 the most infamous witch trials were held. To date, we do not know if the people burned at the stake were actually witches, but it is widely reported that their ghosts still haunt this hapless dive bar to this very day. It was actually 1692. What? And the site was over by the coffee shop down the road. I'm sorry, who are you? Daniel McSturgis, ghost historian. And this is my colleague, Dr. 80s. Do we want the 80s, 90s, or today? Contemporary reference. I don't know whether it's going to matter. But I mean, Quizmaster Quinn, he doesn't have the spine to stand up to us, even if he thinks it is some kind of joke. So I'll just go with the 80s reference because of my youth. Sure. Dr. Loomis, paranormal investigator extraordinaire. We're investigating America's most haunted locations as research for our new book. You may have seen our guest cameo on Paranormal House Hunters Extreme Edition. A couple of people in the group start nodding. Man, Robert's good at this. Are you guys part of the group? I don't remember seeing you at the first stop. We like to keep a low profile. Easier to catch ghosts that way.
Hey.
They've definitely been here. Been standing next to them the whole time. Thank you, random lady who I do not know. As I was saying, the epicenter of paranormal activity can be found at the Coffee Spoon, over there. The man who runs it has been plagued by hauntings since he signed the lease. Damn near driven him mad. But whatever you want to say is cool, I guess. It's your tour. Man, didn't know that about Matt. Wait, Robert's making this up. The rest of the tour group listens intently to Robert's every word. I think the tour guide could tell that he's losing the group. He seems to be getting flustered. Thank you for your contribution to knowledge, Mr. McSturgis. Let's move on to the next haunted location. Robert, Mary, and I follow the group down the street. That tour guide's shirt is cool. Yeah, everyone in the group gets one of those if we make it to the final location. I turn to Robert and grab him by the shoulders. I need that t-shirt. Well, guess we're in this for the long haul then. Just follow my lead, don't arouse too much suspicion, and we'll have those cool ghost shirts in no time. Our group arrives at an old, decrepit, colonial-style house. Isn't this just going to be Damien Demento's house?
All right.
A quick pause in the tour. My name is Quinn, but most people on the ghost tour circuit call me Tour Master Quinn. I'm a DJ, trivia master, and part-time actor. I do private ghost hunting events, private birthday parties, MC bar mitzvahs, and perform traditional vaudevillian mime work. Tour Master Quinn gives out headshots to all of us. His resume is on the back. Stage combat experience. I ought to slap you one tennis ball's width away from your face. Anyway, here's a little bit of history for you all. This is the home of noted American author Dorothy Pembridge, whose prose was wildly popular in the late 19th century. It was in the attic of this very home where he wrote such classics as The Diaries of a Victorian Mistress, Lady Fitzwilliam's Courtship, and The Ghost of Sea Captain Reginald Barksley. Or Barkley. Whatever. She unfortunately died of consumption shortly after the turn of the century, but several people have reported that on some nights you can see a light from the attic where the ghost of Miss Pembridge continues work on her latest bestseller. I guess you could say that she was consumed by her work. Yeah! No reaction from the crowd. This guy needs to work on his dad jokes. Man, I wasn't as prepared for this as I was for Special Criminal Investigation (SCI). I had the drop at the ready on that one. Actually, consumption is the popular cover-up. A little-known fact is that it was a murder suicide. I'm pretty sure she died of consumption. Sure. We definitely won't hire Stanley Kubrick to elaborately fake the moon landing. We definitely didn't hire Stanley Kubrick to elaborately fake the moon landing. That's the watered-down, censored version they teach you in school. But if you can't handle a real story, I understand. It's not for the faint of heart. Can we... I think everyone would much rather listen, would much rather hear what this world-renowned ghost historian has to say. Right, everybody? The group murmurs in agreement, including Robert, who goes, "Hey." This is a topic we cover extensively in our book. Dr. Loomis, would you care to tell this story? I mean, the issue here is I have amazing improv comedy skills, and this would be a good situation for them because they're verbal. I mean, I could do some physical improv comedy too. I mean, we're all just on some sort of like, like skill web, basically. But I feel like when they say rely on amazing improv comedy skills, they're joking. Like it's going to turn out that in-game Bobo does not have them. Riff something highbrow seems like it would be potentially what you do. Go with something I know. I don't even know what any of that means. I feel like if I go funny with see, I'm just talking about like improvising, not necessarily improv comedy, but I feel like if you improvise in this situation, or you go funny in this situation, you're going to throw off Robert, and you're possibly going to lose the audience because they're going to think that you were doing something different. Let's riff something highbrow. Ah, yes. Though it's rarely covered in traditional textbooks, Dorothy Pembridge was caught in a fierce rivalry with fellow local author Arthur Livingston Price. Arthur's books were blatant rip-offs of Pembridge's work and consistently sold better. Pembridge was enraged by this and confronted Livingston Price at his home with his plans to end his life. Their bitter feud surprisingly blossomed into a torrid, passionate affair. After many months of secret courtship, Pembridge followed through with her original plan and poisoned Livingston Price in his sleep. Overcome with unexpected grief, Pembridge polished off the last of the poison and died by her lover's side. Reports say the couples who enter this house will no doubt doom their relationship to a bitter end. Man, I should bring my wife here. The entire tour group laughs heartily. I'm kidding. My wife is dead. The crowd gasps. She was killed by a ghost. The crowd gasps again. I'm just messing with you guys. A nervous chuckle ripples through the crowd. See, you gotta be the straight man. Robert likes to yuck it up. Tour guide sees this as an opportunity to take the group back and impress us with some razzle-dazzle. What an interesting story. Now, I just want everyone to know that the next location is extremely terrifying. If anyone thinks that they can't handle it, feel free to excuse yourselves. All right, I'm bored. Mary turns to a young guy looking at his phone and taps him on the shoulder. Hey, kid, fancy buying a gal a drink? The guy looks up at her and smiles. Only if the bar is haunted. Honey, I can show you the most haunted place in town. I think I could exorcise your demons, if that's what you're looking for. Don't write checks, you dickhead cash, kid. His eyes go wide. Mary salutes me and Robert. She suddenly pulls me into a hug and murmurs into my ear. When you've known Rob for as long as I have, you know when something's wrong. Keep an eye on him for me tonight, okay? Sure, Mary. Good man. Mary pats me on the back and pulls away. She takes the guy's hand and leads him down the street. Take it sleazy, fellas. So she thinks something is wrong with Robert, but she's bored and wants to be seduced by a man. So she's gonna leave. God help that poor soul. Mary or the kid? Both. Our last stop, this burial ground is such a hotbed of horrifying paranormal activity that I'm not even sure where to begin. There's the wailing ghost of the wharfman, the vampire of Maple Bay, and the children of the moonlight. What about the Dover ghost? By this point, the tour guide is clearly irritated with us. What about it? Oh, nothing. I just think it would be a crime to come all the way out to this cemetery, the actual origin of one of New England's most notorious paranormal entities, and not even mention the infamous Dover ghost. That's not a real thing. That is absolutely not a real thing. I think someone needs to brush up on their paranormal history. I know tons about paranormal history. I know every ghost story in this area. I can guarantee there's one you don't know. Robert looks over at me and smiles. Would you folks care to hear the tale of how Loomis and I met? No. The entire group shushes the tour guide. Okay, fine, tell the story. Well, it was a dark and stormy night. I wasn't always a paranormal investigator. Way back when, I was just traveling grifter. Sounds like a potential one. Carnival barker. That sounds like I could have figured it out. Traveling grifter, though. Bible salesman. The problem with being a Bible salesman is that if I were to be, if I were to be called on it and, have to go in and recite some Bible passages or something, that could be a problem. It does sound good for someone to turn into a paranormal investigator from having a spiritual background like that, though. Although Bible salesmen are not necessarily spiritual people. They are people selling books to spiritual people. So, could I be one of the carnies? Like Carrie Offel or Nick Iggy? Who apparently I'm just now going to start name dropping in every episode of Dream Daddy in the last 2 episodes. Although, the people looking at me right now, they're thinking I used to be. Oh, by the way, SKS's Gamer Nation has a scheduled event tonight. Thanks, SKS. If you're watching, how's it going? Let's This shouldn't actually be this difficult, but I'll say, I was against it at first, but I'll say Bible salesman. Traveling around the state, not only spreading the good word, but becoming closer to the man upstairs myself. I happened upon the quiet town of Maple Bay quite by accident, but little did I know that this city has a dark side. Now, about the same time, I was just starting out as an apprentice to a rather famous ghost hunter who's an old family friend of mine. I carried the equipment, operated the EVP machine, all that. Wait. Yes? Who was the famous ghost hunter? Well, I don't like to name drop, but Georgia Mathers. The tour group gasps. Georgia Mathers, she's a legend. You know her. Knew her. Amazing woman. Died mysteriously. Miss you, Georgie. Anyway, we were in Maple Bay investigating some reports of strange lights and sounds coming on from the cemetery late at night. Now, we'd been warned by the old crypt keeper that this place was highly dangerous, but Georgia was never one to stay home away from an adventure. We camped out in the center of the cemetery for 3 nights straight. We endured your so-called wailing watchman. Wailing ghost of the wharfmen. Whatever. Your stupid vampire was just a teenager in a mask, but the Dover ghost, oh man. Tell him, Loomis. So there I was, just walking back to my hotel after a long day of running the dunk tank, selling Bibles, working a couple short cons. I mean, is this just to test that we are actually paying attention to the entries that we put in before? I said I was a Bible salesman. Saving souls and selling Bibles. Also saving a couple Bibles, but never selling any souls except my own. But that's another story. Lean over to Tourmaster Quinn. Won it back in a fiddle competition. Found myself walking past this very cemetery. Now, I was never a very superstitious man, but something seemed off. I could hear some sort of commotion happening deep within the graveyard, and I felt compelled to investigate. Thank God you did. Georgia and I were conducting a seance in the mausoleum. At first, things were pretty normal, but after about an hour, everything went south. Playing back the EVP meter, we were able to hear a single word. Run. The air suddenly went cold. Something was very, very wrong. I just knew we weren't alone. We started to hear this faint, distant scraping noise, like something being dragged across the ground. It got louder and louder until it was deafening. Some kind of demented howl. And then I felt it. Someone. Something grabbing my ankle. Robert has the whole crowd hook, line, and sinker. You could hear a pin drop. I've only cried twice in my life. Once was at the birth of my daughter. The other was when that thing started dragging me. I wasn't sure where it was taking me, but knew it was no place I wanted to go. I was sure I was going to die. Then when I crossed the gate into the cemetery, I heard this god-awful screeching. I ran into the mausoleum just in time to see a man being pulled across the floor by... God, to this day, the mere thought of it ties my stomach into knots. It looked like a man, but like... I glance at Robert. Like someone who didn't know what a man was supposed to look like tried to put one together. The arms were too long. Its eyes glowed red. It was like a walking shadow. What did I do? What any good person would do. I lunged for... Shoot, what was his fake name again? Shoot, what was his fake name again? I think it was Daniel McSturgis, right? Daniel. Oh, good. I got the memory correct. I grabbed his hand and entered into a tug-of-war with the unholiest of forces. I thought I was going to be torn in half. But I had God on my side. The pocket Bible I always kept on me fell out of my shirt pocket. To this day, I can remember when that passage had opened up, too. Austin 3:16. It says, I just whooped your ass. See, I don't know why in-game Bobo is going into the level of detail of this, because this is just going to be a big problem. I don't literally know what any of these passages are. It's entirely possible that one of them, even one of them other than Austin 3:16, is a fake. Like, maybe there aren't 12 chapters, but Revelations, I know the book of Revelations was one where a lot of bad stuff happened, so or a lot of was predicted. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. I have no idea where Robert pulled that verse from. With a horrifying growl, the entity finally relented. Daniel and I collapsed onto the ground, exhausted. We were both covered in blood. That damn creature clawed on my chest. It got me real good. Had to get 16 stitches. Robert pulls down the collar of his shirt to reveal a long, wicked scar across his pecs. That's how I got this scar. I followed Georgia Mathers to the end of the earth. We faced exorcisms, demons, poltergeists, threw our equipment across the room, but I'd never seen Georgia so scared. She was never the same after that. Neither was I. Watching what happened to Daniel and Georgia shook my faith, but I came out of that experience a better man and a better friend. We've been brothers ever since. The tour group gives us a round of applause as Robert and I share an emotional hug. As he embraces me, I can smell the cologne in his neck. Wow, Robert does clean up good. I find myself lingering a little too long on the hug. The tour guide seems to have bought it. Even he is wiping a tear from his eyes. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be able to share our story. Be sure to watch out for our book. The Bros Guides to the Hottest Ghosts. I saw a demon, the shocking true story of seeing a demon. Paranormal excursions of the supernatural, Ice Road Ghost Truckers. I mean, nah. I mean, like, any of these would be working titles. I mean, The Bros Guide to the Hottest Ghosts. That's just a little silly. I saw a demon, the shocking true story of seeing a demon. Not quite on the nose either. Paranormal excursions of the supernatural, Ice Road Ghost Truckers. That's the TV show. But whatever. Robert has to suppress a laugh at that one. Well, I think you both definitely earned your t-shirts. The tour guide hands us the covered t-shirts. Then he slips us both his business card and leans in close. If you guys are ever in need of a professional actor, a balloon artist, Elvis impersonator, or nude model, please don't hesitate to contact me. You got it, buddy. After a couple of tourists take selfies with us, we split away from the group and walk home. That was incredible. I really can't believe they bought all that. I didn't know you had it in you, Bobo. Excuse me, Dr. Loomis. That bit about the pocket Bible was aces, although giving the Dover ghost glowing red eyes was a little cliche. And the Kubrick conspiracy theory bit wasn't. All a part of a character. Well, we got the shirts out of it. We arrived in front of Robert's house. Want to have a drink? Is that even a question? Are you trying to poison me? No, I'm good. I can joke about poisoning. I know where this goes, Small. I know the steps. 1 second I'm sipping delicious aged scotch, the next I'm foaming at the mouth and you're taking over the throne. Long live the king, baby. We go to his apartment, or we go to his house that is flooded with, hearts and eggplants. Robert leads me inside. I can't help but think about what Mary said to me. Robert did seem a little bit off, but that completely disappeared when we were joking around with the ghost tour. I don't know. He's hard to read. While I'm thinking, I hear claws skittering across the floor. Oh God, it's his pit bull. I'm about to be torn to shreds. He's got a kitty. I shut my eyes tight and brace for impact. Betsy, hey, be nice. I don't feel anything but tiny paws scratching on my shoes. I open my eyes. Was it Chihuahua? Oh, it was a French bulldog. Betsy? Robert's dog jumps away from me, running around in circles and sniffing Robert's legs. He pats her on the head. Hey, that's not a pit bull. This is the cutest, dumbest Boston Terrier I've ever seen. Oh, okay. Whatever. I'm not that sharp on the dog breeds. What can I say? Betsy, you're not a pit bull? You weren't even taken by the Dover ghost? Betsy's made of tougher stuff than that, ain't you, girl? Betsy rolls over for some well-deserved belly rubs. I just keep a picture of a large pit bull in my wallet in case of emergencies. Comedic emergencies. We make our way to Robert's living room. For a quiet man with arguably the oldest pickup truck that can be legally driven, this place is amazing. There are sleek, modern appliances throughout the room with a big flat-screen TV mounted on the wall. He also has a turntable over there. Let's not go too crazy about how modern everything is. He has shelves upon shelves of DVDs. Guess he wasn't lying about being really into cinema. He pours us both glasses of whiskey from a well-stocked bar in the corner while Betsy curls up on a pile of cushions. So, how'd you really get that scar? Don't tell me you got it fishing for Alaskan king crabs in the Bering Sea or something. You trained me too well. Robert laughs and takes a sip of his drink. My daughter and I were riding our bikes. I hit a rock, flew over the handlebars, and then we went to the hospital. That's it. Not a very interesting story. Never heard you talk about your daughter. Well, I have one. That's her. He points at a picture on the wall of a very serious little girl with dark eyes. Yep, that's definitely Robert's daughter. How old is she? 25, 26, not too sure. Does she live around here? No, Val lives back home in Brooklyn. Works at some new media online magazine thing. Makes buckets, though. Yeah, right. Well, I mean, possibly if it's one that has a budget to afford to exist in Brooklyn, they have enough money to pay their new media online magazine people, but no. We make crap. He suddenly seems very serious. I probably shouldn't press him about it. You like Santana? Um, Santana's okay. Sure. Great. Robert puts on Santana, then takes a seat in the couch next to me. He suddenly downs his drink in one gulp. Hey, you alright? Robert leans in and kisses me, the taste of whiskey burning my lips. I'm surprised at first, but slowly relax into his arms. He pulls away slightly, his lips barely brushing against my mouth. I am now. I can't say anything, best managing a sigh. Robert leans in again, kissing me harder. He pulls my bottom lip between his teeth and bites slightly, sliding a hand under my shirt. My heart pounds in my chest as he lies us both down on the couch. He kisses a trail down my neck, his teeth grazing my skin. He's a little rough, huh? I just... wait. It's not that. Robert bites down and I have to stifle a moan. Stop. Robert stiffens up and pulls away. No biting? No, I'm more than okay with that. I'm not necessarily okay with a lot of biting. But, there's degrees. Something's up. Robert runs a hand through his hair and looks away. I'm fine. I've just been kind of stressed out. Tired. Not a big deal. Let's push it. Push it to the limit. Push it. Yeah. Listen, I want this as badly as you do, but I know something's wrong. I need to make sure that you're okay. Robert stares at the ground. You don't know me that well, Bobo. I'm not a good person. He takes a deep breath. I spent my whole life only taking and taking and taking, and now here I am, an old broken man sitting on top of a pile of everything I've ever taken, alone. But I want to know you. You don't have to keep hiding behind fake stories and acting like you don't have feelings. It's... He sighs heavily. It's Val. She's visiting tomorrow. She wants to patch things up. Are you... I'm sorry, but... Is this a bit... No. When was the last time you saw her? 3, 4, I think. Months? Years. I sit up straight. And when he said 3, 4, I thought he literally meant when she was 3 or 4. I was like, oh, like you're literally just a completely estranged father. That would be a stressful situation, but also, really, it removes any particular expectation that you need to maintain for her because you've led an entire life the same as she has in that time. Uh, you know, I don't know. Jesus, Robert, what happened between you two? I don't want to talk about it. Robert and I sit in silence, neither of us wanting to look at each other. Both of us unsure what to do next. Fine. Things were already bad between us. I cared about her. I always did. Things just got in the way, and before I knew it, she was leaving for college, wanting nothing to do with me. Marilyn and I moved out here to settle down. We thought it would help to get away from all the distractions, all the money, the drinking. But temptation gets to you. I tried to be better, but I just couldn't. And then the accident changed everything. I think every day about how she must have died hating me. I never became better than she wanted me to be. I never became the better man that she wanted me to be, and the one she always saw in me. She was the last thread Val and I had connecting us together. I didn't know that when I lost my wife, I was going to lose my daughter, too. Robert. I spent so much time chasing after things that I thought were going to make me happy that I ruined my only real chance at happiness. Now my wife is dead and my daughter hates me. And then I convinced myself that this was going to make me happy. Why do I even try anymore? I'm so sorry. I know how hard it is to know you don't. How could you possibly know how this feels? You did everything right. Your daughter loves you. You're a good person. I was a terrible husband, and I'm an even worse father. I have no idea why she's even bothering to contact me now. I know I'm just going to fuck it up like I always do. I'm broken. I shouldn't even go. Robert puts his head in his hands. Tell him what he wants to hear. Tell him what he needs to hear. Or walk away. I mean, what he wants to hear, honestly, at this point, might be me walking away. I get the feeling that Robert is not a big person for blowing smoke, really. So I don't know that telling him what he wants to hear or what we perceive that he wants to hear is going to be particularly useful. So I feel like tough love is the avenue here. Nothing is going to change until you do. Robert pauses. He looks at me. There are a lot of things in my life that I regret, that I wish I could take back or do over. It hurts so much to know that I can't. But what I can do, and what you have the privilege of doing tomorrow morning, is to wake up and try to be a better person than you were the day before. Things aren't going to fix themselves tomorrow or the next day, and patching things up with Val isn't going to solve all your problems either. But nothing is going to change if you don't. And if you can't love anyone else, I mean, you can't love anyone else until you stop hating yourself. And you're right. I don't know you that well, but you have the same capacity for good that we all have, and I know you can find it. Val's given you a chance. Don't waste it. But, Robert, listen to me. It's going to be okay. But I lean over and embrace Robert, pulling him in as tightly as I can. He buries his head into my shoulder, hugging me back. It's going to be okay. I place a hand on the back of his head and stroke his hair. He shudders, then sobs, and I realize that he's crying. Thank you. We stay there for a while, holding each other. We both eventually drift off to sleep. Number one dad, energy saving. What? Our real talk and life scores are nearly the same. Huh. Hey, my daddy points were 691,000. Woo! Daddy. Dreamiest daddy and knife dad. I guess dreamiest daddy means that I've dated all the dads. Something like that. Always try your best at everything. I'm just guessing that that's the additional achievement for having finished a storyline with all these dads. Dream Daddy not responding. There we go. I think I have everything finally set up. Matter should be here any minute. Alright, so we're... What? No! Crab cake sandwiches. Oh, man. I know that in-game Dad would not be big into crab cake sandwich, but I'm big into crab cake sandwich. Yeah, yes. First mac and cheese. Yeah, we can get Pablo out of here. Walk over to Mary, who's having a lively conversation with Amanda. Listen, kid, you're going to need some real-life skills out there if you're going to make it on the streets. I'm going to college. Same thing. Look, I know you're not old enough to drink. Right. And I know you're smart enough not to drink until you're of legal age. Uh-huh. But hypothetically, if you were to drink, it'd behoove you to drink a glass of water between rounds. Behoove you. Got it. Hypothetically. Guys, it is important to hydrate while drinking. It does two things. One, the very obvious, it hydrates you. So, you keep, you don't, because alcohol actually makes you more thirsty. The one time I ever got in real super bad shape drinking, it was because I made the dumb mistake of, oh, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna drink another beer. Oh, I'm still thirsty though, so I better have another beer. Like, that's not actually going to quench your thirst beyond the immediate sensation on your palate. These are probably all things that maybe you could all know on your own. But A, it has that effect. B, it also has the effect of, if you have to get up to go use the restroom slightly more often, you have a built-in gauge of whether or not you can stand and walk and move. And, it's going to be like, if you're sitting there and you have to really go, you're probably less likely to just grab a beer or a drink or whatever just because it's just right there. So it naturally slows you down a little bit, which isn't the worst thing. Guys, you're far more likely to drink too fast than you are to drink too slow. Because drinking too slow, what's the real damage that gets done? This is all my advice for Amanda as she goes off to college, because I managed not to. I'm trying to think if I actually did do any real drinking my freshman year. I don't think I really did. Sophomore year, sure, but freshman year, no. And if you wake up with a headache, all you gotta do is take a jar of pickles and drink the pickle juice. You're gonna be fine. What's going on here? Girl talk. Mary turns back to Amanda. Now let me tell you about how to deal with a bad roommate. First thing to know, you get straight A's if they die during the semester. Mary. Relax, it's a myth. Supposedly. Against my better judgment, I leave them be. I don't think I recognize that girl by the snack table. I should go say hello. Oh, this looks like some sort of Brooklyn new media online publication type. With dark, serious eyes. Oh, I don't think we've met.
Oh, we've met years ago.
The femme version of Robert's voice.
And I'm here for my revenge.
You're Robert's kid, aren't you?
Spot on. I guess that makes you Bobo, huh?
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. I'm glad Robert brought you along.
He promised there would be free food, so that's kind of hard to pass up. Look, I don't know you, but can I get real with you for a sec? My old man's a real closed book, you know? Me and him, we got a long way to go. You don't erase decades of neglect in a week, but you sure can get tired of staying angry about it. That kind of bitterness, it poisons you, I think. I'm too young for that. Anyway, lately he's been better, a lot better. And between him shaving for once and how much he talks about you, I get the feeling you have something to do with it. So, thanks. Robert means a lot to me. I'm glad he's getting better. Just keep an eye on him while I'm not around, okay? Or else. What? I'm kidding. Or am I? I don't know why I'm like this. I think it runs in the family. Amanda trots up to the conversation. Hey, love your necklace. And your hair. And just, geez, your whole vibe is cool. Thanks. I like your jacket. My girlfriend collects pins too. Oh, this is my daughter Amanda. Amanda, this is Robert's daughter Val. Nice meeting you. I heard you're a photographer. Aspiring photographer. I'm going to school for it. You take pictures? Yes. Then you're a photographer. Welcome to the biz. Val hands Amanda a business card. If you're ever looking for internships, shoot me an email. Anyway, I need to go make friends with that woman over there who's dual-wielding wine glasses. Catch you later. Val walks away. She's so cool. She gave me her business card. She touched my hand. Congrats. You just networked for the first time. I'm a regular business lady now. Quarterly projections, stock market, synergy. She's like everyone thinks that Mysterious JG's SmackDown Here Comes the Pain character is. While you're making a fortune as a businesswoman, I gotta keep this party going. Catch you around, Pops. Alright. Daisy trots up. Does a little bit of teleport dance. Probably because, you know, fast forwarding. Bro. Now, Amanda's gonna come by. Pew pew. What a splendid garden party. As the party starts to wind down, I take a seat next to Robert. The sun is setting and everyone seems to have eaten their fill. Dots. Hey. Hey. Haven't heard from you in a bit. How have you been? Oh, I'm great. Never better. We gotta get together again sometime. Maybe watch The Game or something. Yeah, that sounds cool. Dots. Come on, Robert. Give me something more than that. Let's have fun like we used to. Robert places a hand on my thigh. I mean, we could have fun. Not like that. I pull away from Robert and look him in the eyes. Robert, I miss you. Dots. Okay. Robert gets up. I'll see you around. He walks away, leaving me alone on the bench, alone with my thoughts. The last guests begin to make their way out of the party. Amanda wanders over and sits down next to me. Killer party pops. So, I have something for you. Oh, so we get the presents?
Presents. We have a hug. Plenty more memories. Stuff to break. Man and I wave bye to the partygoers as they leave. We sit together and watch the sun slowly dip below the horizon. Glad you made some friends. Yeah. No, that's maybe not what you were looking for, but these people care about you. I love you, Dad. We'll always have each other. You're right. It's going to be hard at first, but this is the next chapter in our story. And I would be nervous about it, but I know that you're always going to be looking out for me the same way. I'll always be looking out for you. Team Vulture. Then we go to the credits. Yeah. We didn't knock it out of the park with Robert, although apparently we helped him out enough to, reconcile with his estranged daughter. So, I mean, in that sense, I feel like we've done plenty. We've done plenty, guys. We tried our best at everything. We didn't always go out and get into shenanigans that may or may not have been legal with Robert, and I have no regrets about that. If we just help Robert just become a little better, and we can't help Robert if we're going out there committing crimes with him, that's enabling. Guys, don't enable people with bad behaviors. Just try and support them and try and, steer them away from that. Sometimes the only way that you can do that is in a small way, like as an example. Just be a good example for them. But either way, maybe I'll go look at a FAQ or something, or maybe I'll just leave it at this. But I'll have a lot of time to think about it. Because, as I may have mentioned, I'm just doing these all in a giant burst in October because I'm going to get these things in the bank because I am going to be a daddy, and I get the sense I might be a little busy. So, hope you guys enjoyed this. I did, and I appreciate all of you guys. I appreciate the world of Let's Playing that I have inhabited for so very long. We'll see how things go. I hear that being a daddy can change everything. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Either way, folks, this is BoboTheVulture. This particular video has been Let's Play Dream Daddy. I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I will see all of you around. Bye-bye.